Hello and welcome to News9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. In various parts of the entire country, the seroprevalence survey is being taken up to ascertain as to how many people have had the virus and recovered from it. While the numbers may come as a surprise, there are other surprising results the surveys have thrown up. Case in point, the Sero survey conducted in the national capital in the month of August. Now, this survey has found that 79 out of 257 people who recovered from COVID-19 did not have any antibodies whatsoever against the virus. So if they did not have antibodies, how did they recover from COVID-19? Or are we talking about a case where antibodies cease to exist in the body after about a month or month and a half? And more importantly, what does it mean for our fight against the novel coronavirus? To answer some of these important questions, we have with us Dr. Srinivasa, Karnataka Secretary of the Indian Medical Association, joining us live on the broadcast. Many thanks for speaking to us, sir. My first question, please tell us as to what it means when almost 1/3 of those tested in Delhi in August do not have any antibodies. Is it a case of antibodies dying out over a period, or in a sense, on what basis do some people retain antibodies and some don't? Does it really vary case by case? Kindly throw light, sir.
Actually, I don't know in Delhi. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, what made them to see the antibiotics level? Lot of differences. Last of this is there.
Okay.
See, once the COVID infection is there, some people are asymptomatic and some people are symptomatic.
Correct.
So, even asymptomatic patients also, they may develop antibodies, and naturally symptomatic people also, they develop the antibodies. Asymptomatic patients, they may not have so high antibodies level compared to symptomatic patients. That also is there. And definitely this antibody protection, it depends upon the strain of the virus, and it depends upon the body immunity,
Okay.
and it depends upon the concentration of the antigen load. Everything it depends about that. We cannot tell that if each person antibody level this much, other person antibody this much. And usually after the infection, they may have the antibody level so that definitely it will be immune for the second attack, and they may or they may not have. But all the people, those who have suffered from the COVID infection, 100% we cannot give guarantee for them. Even they may develop the infection subsequently also.
Okay.
That is the reason why so many times what we will do, if you take the hepatitis B infection, if you take the measles infection, if you take all these things, if you want to see that any protection against hepatitis B infection, you have to see the antibody titer, whether it is less or more. If it is more, we can directly tell them. Even following vaccination also, we will see the antibody levels, and the antibody levels is quite high. We will tell this definitely this person is very much protection, developed protection towards that infection like that.
Okay.
But it's very, very difficult because of so many reasons is there for the antibody levels. You told that in Delhi some whatever survey they have done, that antibody levels, and even some information also it has come to us that even health ministry, they are asking to open the schools because of the antibody levels and all these things. Very, very difficult to predict this. Very, very difficult. Yes, not. I know my own friend, one of the friends is there, he's supposed to be a doctor. And he developed the COVID infection. He's supposed to be a physician.
Okay.
And whenever he examined his blood, antibody levels are very, very less.
Okay.
Even experts advised him not to go out at all, not to even acquire again infection. Even though he refused that idea, and he has gone and started seeing the patient, and he developed the COVID infection again.
Okay.
So this is the scenario.
Okay.
So that's why antibodies, we cannot guarantee once we get the COVID infection and they recovered another time, we don't get, we no guarantee. It depends upon the strain also. Other strain also can infect him. And same strain also, if antibodies are very less, definitely more for infection.
All right.
And especially antibody production, it depends upon the age,
Okay.
it depends upon the sex, It depends upon the comorbid conditions. If that person is having so many other comorbid conditions, malnutrition and all, even malnutrition patients, they may not have antibody production much. That also is there.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, doctor,
important.
in the end, it almost seems as though it varies case to case. But one thing that we are very certain about is that antibodies get created, get generated in any particular human being once they get infected. But the bigger question seems to be as to how long these antibodies last. Because there was one study that I came across which was conducted by the JJ hospital in Mumbai. They had said that about 50 days, not even close to 2 months, is how long antibodies can stay inside a COVID recovered patient. So eventually we're talking about a state where the antibodies go away after a certain period. So if that really is the case, is there a possibility, is there a chance of reinfection? You were mentioning about that also. It also brings to mind the 27-year-old Bengaluru woman who had tested positive for coronavirus the second time. She happened to be the first case of reinfection in the city. You could speak to us about the possibilities of reinfection and in case if the antibodies go away quickly, and also you could also touch upon the role of T cells, or otherwise called memory cells, whether they will be the ultimate savior in case if a person does not have antibodies anymore.
So I will give an example, especially measles infection.
Okay.
To prevent measles infection, we are giving vaccination in the babies around 9 months. Same time, suppose that child, now that new baby infant, if he gets malnutrition, you are on 6 months also, you may have to start the vaccination. That shows that whatever antibodies which has come from the mother usually persist in the baby up to 9 months. But once the baby undergoes so many stress and strain and infection, malnutrition, even within 6 months, that antibodies will come down less, come down deficient, and that time you may have to prepone the vaccination. Here also, once the antibody develops, everybody knows that first there is a IgM antibody producer, after 2 weeks IgG antibody producer. That IgG normally whatever now scenario is there, it has to persist for 7 to 8 months. But we don't know. But once if they get so many other problems, even within 2 months also it may come down. Sometimes other immunosuppressive condition, immunosuppressive disorders or everything, it may add on, it may cause the antibodies to come down.
Okay.
So that study really we require now at present juncture. We require to study a little more, depends upon the patient, depends upon the other conditions, how many months this antibodies will persist. Definitely it may be depends upon the individual patient. Sometimes 1 or 2 months, sometimes 5 to 6 months. However, we think this is a new scenario for us, COVID infection. Difficult for us to tell that exactly how many months these antibodies will be there. And especially you asked about T cells. T cells, the immunological cells, it is a memory cell.
Correct.
Even though there is antibodies comes very much less, when that whether the patient cannot be immune, definitely these T cells will be there. It is almost God saver actually. It is a life-saving memory cell. Definitely it recognizes whatever the infection in those patients. So definitely antibody production will be more aggressive and more protection will be there in those patients. That clearly indicates that any patient second time if they get infection, those patients definitely they have some amount of protection irrespective of their antibody level.
So ultimately the T cells, memory cells acting like a
silver
lining for those who've recovered from COVID-19. But again, Doctor, looks like it all boils down to the individual's immunity. You had outlined this very point in the introduction. Is there anything we can do right now to ensure that the antibodies in us stay longer if in case we were to get infected at a later stage?
Thing is they have to take good amount of natural food, good vegetables, vitamin D, vitamin C, all those things they should continue, and they should see that they should not land up in other problems. So many other problems come, so definitely associated conditions with development, definitely immunity will come down, antibody level will come down. That is the most important part.
Right. Many thanks, Dr. Srinivasa, for joining us and for sharing with us your expertise on the kind of results that the Delhi Sero survey have thrown up. We are talking about how close to 30% of those who underwent the Sero survey in the national capital in the month of August had no antibodies in them. So it clearly seems to be a case of the antibodies ceasing to exist in a person who has recovered from COVID-19 over a period of time. The doctor also mentioning very clearly that the second time, if in case a person were to get infected, they'll have a better kind of a response against the COVID-19 itself. So yes, as the doctor also mentioned, we'll have to ensure that our diet is kept in check. Our vitamins are in supply when it comes to our diet, and that really is the way to go about it to ensure that we are able to deal with COVID-19 in case if it really does get inside us. And yes, even after we recover from it, we can also ensure that the antibodies within us stay for a longer time. If you like the information that we've shared with you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.